In the quiet, starlit town of Nurabad, nestled among rolling hills and whispered legends, lived a young man named Aries. Every night, without fail, you could find him in his favorite spot at the edge of town, his gaze fixed upon the shimmering tapestry of the night sky. He wasn't just admiring the view. He was talking to the stars. He would whisper his deepest desires into the vast, silent expanse, believing that if he just wished hard enough, the universe would grant him his heart's desires. "Oh, stars," he would murmur, his voice barely a breath in the cool night air, "grant me wealth, so I can provide for my family and never see them want for anything. Grant me success, so that my name is known and respected throughout the land. Grant me fame, so that my life feels significant, so that I feel I've made a mark on this world." He poured his soul into these nightly rituals, his hopes rising with each twinkling light he addressed. But day after day, week after week, life remained stubbornly ordinary. He worked hard, but prosperity always seemed just out of reach. He pursued opportunities with passion, but success felt like a shadow he could never quite catch. His world was a cycle of striving and falling short, a constant reminder of the gap between his dreams and his reality. The stars, it seemed, were silent listeners, offering no reply but their distant, cold glimmer. One evening, his heart was particularly heavy. A major business opportunity, one he had poured months of effort into, had slipped through his fingers at the last moment. It felt like the final straw. The disappointment was a physical weight, pressing down on his chest. Defeated and lost, he found himself wandering aimlessly through the town's familiar streets, the stars above now looking more like mocking eyes than friendly confidence. His steps led him to the old town mosque, its minaret a graceful silhouette against the inky sky. The courtyard was empty, save for a single stooped figure. An old man, his back bent with age, was patiently sweeping the fallen leaves from the stone tiles. There was a rhythm to his movements, a sense of peace that seemed to emanate from him, creating a small island of tranquility in Aries' sea of turmoil. Drawn by this quiet dignity, Aries approached. The old man looked up, his eyes, though clouded with age, held a deep, knowing light. He offered a gentle smile. "A heavy heart walks late at night, my son," he said, his voice soft and raspy, like the rustling of the leaves he was sweeping. Aries, surprised by the directness yet comforted by the kindness, found himself confessing his frustrations. He spoke of his nightly rituals, his whispered pleas to the distant stars, and the crushing silence that always followed. "I've asked for so much," Aries lamented, his voice cracking. "Wealth, success. But I get nothing. It feels like no one is listening." The old man stopped sweeping. He leaned on his broom and looked from Aries to the star-dusted sky and back again. "Tell me, my son," he began, his tone gentle but profound. "When you spend all that time whispering your wishes to the stars, do you ever stop to whisper to the one who made them?" The question hung in the air, simple yet earth-shattering. It struck Aries with the force of a revelation. The stars. They were creations. Beautiful, awe-inspiring, but creations nonetheless. All this time, he had been speaking to the artwork, completely ignoring the artist. He had been praying to the specks of light, forgetting the source of all light. The old man's words opened a door in his mind that had been locked for years. He had been looking up, but he hadn't been looking high enough. He thanked the old man, a deep sense of gratitude welling up inside him. The sweeper simply nodded, a knowing smile on his lips, and returned to his work, his steady sweeping a quiet lesson in devotion and purpose. That night, Aries' prayer was different. He knelt, not under the open sky, but in the quiet of his room. He closed his eyes. He wasn't addressing the stars anymore. His words were directed to the creator of the stars, the universe, and everything in between, and this time he didn't ask for things. He didn't list his desires for wealth, success, or fame. Instead, with a humility he had never felt before, he asked for something else entirely. "Oh, my Lord," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion, "I don't know what is best for me. Grant me not what I want, But what I need, grant me patience. Grant me guidance, grant me peace. He prayed for a heart that could find contentment in what it had, not one that constantly yearned for what it didn't. He asked for the strength to accept the outcome, whatever it might be. From that night on, something began to shift. It wasn't a sudden, miraculous change. The wealth didn't magically appear, and he wasn't suddenly famous. But his perspective began to transform. When an opportunity was lost, instead of despair, he found a lesson in it. He began to see the small blessings he had previously overlooked. The warmth of his family, the taste of a simple meal, the beauty of a sunrise. His focus shifted from acquiring to appreciating. The desperate striving was replaced by a calm, steady effort. He still worked hard, but his happiness was no longer tied to the result. The outcome was in God's hands. The effort was his act of faith. And strangely, as he let go of his desperate need for control, things began to fall into place in their own unexpected ways. He found joy in his work, not just in the potential rewards. He built stronger relationships, not for networking, but for genuine connection. His life wasn't filled with riches, but it was rich in meaning. He realized the old man was right. True wealth wasn't in his pockets, it was in his heart. True success wasn't his name being known by others, but in knowing his Creator. True fame was irrelevant when he felt seen by the one who mattered most. He hadn't received everything he had once wished for, but he had received something far greater. He understood everything differently. He had found peace. Months later, Aries found himself back in his favorite spot at the edge of town, looking up at the same dazzling canopy of stars. They were just as beautiful as before, but his relationship with them had changed. They were no longer vending machines for his wishes. They were signs, beautiful reminders of the magnificent power of their Creator. He smiled, a genuine, peaceful smile that reached his eyes. He looked up at the vast, silent sky, a friend now, not a target for his demands. And he whispered once more into the night, but his words were different. They weren't a list of requests. They were the start of a conversation. This time, he whispered softly, a gentle breeze carrying his words into the cosmos. I'm listening too. He was ready to hear the answers, not in booming voices from the sky, but in the quiet whispers of his own peaceful heart. In the unfolding of his life, in the grand, silent, beautiful plan of the one who made the stars. What about you? We all have things we're hoping for, things we whisper in the quiet of our own hearts. So, I'd love to know, what is one thing you've been praying for lately? Comment it below and let's make a dua together, for each other. Let's create a small community of hope right here. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this space with me. Don't forget to like this video if it resonated with you, and subscribe for more stories that touch the heart. Until next time, stay blessed.